Recording in progress.
Okay, so in the previous chapter, we saw about the trader's edge, and the author said how we have to think in terms of probabilities. And every trade, there is a probability of it failing. And what you need to do is to take the trades where you have an edge, where the probability of you winning is more. But even then, it can fail. So it is always very important to have expectation. Proper expectations, and since every it's a probability, it is you have to keep your stop losses, else you will lose. And the author also says that we have to be very careful with our way of avoiding information, else the it will, in the case of, in normal case, we try to avoid pain, emotional pain and physical pain. But in case of market information, if we do that, we will end up losing more. And and for that, the author is telling that we have to enter only based on our rules, but uh, you know, we have to be flexible with our expectations, right? So so instead of telling that we have to have so much uh, you know so we have to be very flexible with our expectations. And another thing, there are certain things which the author is telling is that every time when you take a trade, you have to tell to yourself that anything can happen. Number two, you don't need to know what is going to happen next in order to make money. And there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any set of variables that define an edge. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing over another, and every moment in the market is unique. So basically, every time when you take a trade, anything can happen, and we don't know what will happen. We don't need to know what will happen just to make money. And even though we have an edge, there is a random distribution. And what is an edge? Basically, you have a higher probability of winning. And every time the market is, every moment in the market is actually a unique, moment. So that means, so you have to ensure that uh, you just do your duty. And if it goes into your in your way, then it's good. If it's not also, then it's good. Just you can't be right every time. There will be times when you will be wrong as well. So this is what we saw about trading. So always think in terms of probabilities. If you encounter a loss, move on. Today's chapter, we'll see about our beliefs. That is the memory which we have inside, the forces which are inside our brains, which are acting actually against us. So that is what this chapter is all about. Now, the task before you is to properly integrate the 5 fundamental truths presented in chapter 7 in your mental environment at a functional level. To help you do that, we will take an in-depth look at beliefs, their nature, properties, and characteristics. However, before we do that, I will review and organize the major concepts presented thus far into a much clearer and more practical framework. What you learn from this and the next 2 chapters will form the foundation for understanding everything you need to do to achieve your goals as a trader. So in the previous chapter, we saw these 5, belief, and the author says that, if you have to think in terms of probabilities, you have to keep these things in mind. Every time when we take a trade, we have to tell to ourselves that anything can happen. Every time we take it, we don't need to know whether, we will, what will happen to make money. Every time we take a trade, we should tell to ourselves that, there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. And every time when we take a trade, we have to tell to ourselves this is an edge and it is just a higher probability. And every time when we take a trade, we have to tell to ourselves that, this moment every time. It is not like just the same way it will behave. Every moment is unique. So the author is trying to, tell to us that we should put those beliefs in our mind. But before we integrate those things to think in terms of probabilities, author is trying to understand what, you know, dig deeper into our beliefs. Okay. So this chapter and the next two chapters, that will be the foundation of understanding everything. Okay. So these three chapters are very important. That is chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10. Defining the problem. At the most fundamental level, the market is simply a series of up and down ticks that form patterns. Technical analysis defines these patterns as edges. Any particular pattern defined as an edge is simply an indication that there is a higher probability that the market will move in one direction over the other. However, there is a major mental paradox here because a pattern implies consistency or at least a consistent outcome. But the reality is each pattern is a unique occurrence. They may look exactly the same from one occurrence to the next, but the similarities are only on the surface. The underlying force behind each pattern is traders, and the traders who contribute to the formation of one pattern are always different from the traders who contribute to the next. So, the outcome of each pattern is random relative to one another. Our minds have an inherent design characteristic, the association mechanism, that can make this paradox difficult to deal with. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that you have patterns, right? You have the candlestick patterns, and it's just a if something like that happens, it's just a probability, right? It is like it is going to tell that market will go in one direction or the other, right? But what is the mental paradox is that there is when we think of patterns, which we tell that it is definite, right? It is very consistent. Yeah, that is the pattern. We see patterns. So we have seen this before, and this is how it will behave, something like that. But what is the reality? Reality is that each pattern is a unique occurrence, right? So they may look exactly the same from one occurrence to the next, but the similarities are only on the surface, right? So what is the underlying force? Underlying force is the traders. And so even though we have seen the pattern, it is not guaranteed that it will behave the same way we have seen before because the traders are different. That is why it is making it difficult to deal with. Now these edges or the patterns they represent flow by in every time frame, making the market a never-ending stream of opportunities to get in, get out, scratch a trade, take profits, cut losses, or add to or detract from a position. In other words, from the market's perspective, each moment presents each one of us traders with the opportunity to do something on our own behalf. Right? So, because of these patterns, it is like, it is becoming like a never ending stream of opportunities. And as a result, each of us, each moment is actually giving us an opportunity so that we can do something. What prevents us from perceiving each now moment as an opportunity to do something for ourselves or to act appropriately even when we do? Our fears. What is the source of our fears? We know it's not the market because from the market's perspective, the up and down ticks and the patterns they create are neither positively or negatively charged. As a result, the up and down ticks themselves have no capacity to cause us to enter into any particular state of mind, negative or positive, lose our objectivity, make errors, or take us out of the opportunity flow. So the author is now bringing the concept of fears. Okay. So it is only fear which is preventing us taking the opportunity, uh, from perceiving each moment, right? And what is the source of those fears? It is not the market because market is just going up and down. Uh, and we know that it is there is no positive or negative charge there, right? So that is what author is telling. And if it is not, the market has no capacity to cause us any fear. What is the cause then? If it is not the market, then that causes us to experience a negatively charged state of mind, then what does cause it? The way we define and interpret the information we perceive. If that is the case, then what determines what we perceive and how we define and interpret that information? What we believe or what we assume to be true are beliefs working in conjunction with the association and pain avoidance mechanisms act as a force on our five senses, causing us to perceive, define, and interpret market information in a way that is consistent with what we expect. Okay. So what we expect is synonymous with what we believe or assume to be true. Expectations are beliefs projected into some future moment. Okay. So what is the fear? Market is not causing the fear. Then what is causing the fear? It is basically the information which we are seeing and how we are perceiving, right? And what is it that perceiving? What is it that defining? Because what we believe or what we assume to be true. Okay. Our beliefs working in conjunction with the association and pain avoidance mechanism act as a force on our five senses, causing us to perceive, define, and interpret market information in a way that is consistent with what we expect. So basically, we have some expectations and we have that belief that we should be right. And we have that now we also don't want pain. All these combinedly act and make us, interpret that information which the market is giving as actually painful. Okay. And what we expect is synonymous with what we believe or assume to be true. Okay. So if we expect something, then obviously we believe that will happen and we assume that to be happen, that should be true. So, and that is something expectations in the future, right? So each moment from the market's perspective is unique, but if the information being generated by the market is similar in quality, properties, or characteristic to something that is already in our minds, the two sets of information automatically become linked. When this connection is made, it triggers a state of mind that corresponds to whatever belief, assumption, or memory the outside information was linked to. This makes it seem as if what is outside is exactly the same as whatever is already inside of us. Okay. So when each moment is unique, right? Each moment in the market is unique. But what happens is that uh, if some information, some belief which we have, and the market is also behaving in that way, then we link it, right? When these two are linked, what is happening? There is a state of mind. What is it that uh, if it is as a result, what is happening? Whatever we think and whatever the market information is giving, we are connecting it, right? Because we have some expectation, we have some belief, and there is a connection which is happening. Okay, because we are expecting market to go in some way, some direction, right? It is our state of mind that makes the truth of whatever we are perceiving outside of us seem indisputable and beyond question. Our state of mind is always the absolute truth. If I feel confident, then I am confident. If I feel afraid, then I am afraid. We can't dispute the quality of energy flowing through our mind and body at any given moment. And because I know as an indisputable fact how I feel, you could say that I also know the truth of what I am perceiving outside of me in the same moment. Okay. And because of that state of mind, that is what, you know, makes the truth of whatever we are perceiving outside of us seem indisputable and beyond question, right? And because how we are inside our mind, we perceive the same way outside. Okay. So if you feel confident, then you are confident. If you feel scared, then you are scared, right? So because of this, energy which is flowing in our mind, we can't. That is how we'll project it. Okay. Uh, So the problem is that how we feel is always the absolute truth, but the beliefs that trigger our state of mind or feeling may or may not be true relative to the possibilities that exist in the market at any given moment. So we are feeling something and we always believe that to be the truth because that is how we feel. That is how our mind is. But in terms of the outer environment, it need not be, right? It may not be true with respect to the market. So this is, I think, the author is trying to now connect with the story of the boy and the dog. So just because the dog bit the boy, the boy got scared and started telling that all dogs are bad, but not necessarily. Okay. So the boy knew for an absolute fact that each dog he encountered after the first was threatening because of the way he felt when one came into his field of awareness. These other dogs did not cause his fear. His negatively charged memory working in conjunction with the association and his pain avoidance mechanism caused his fear. He experienced his own version of the truth, which did not correspond with the possibilities that existed from the environment's perspective. His belief about the nature of dogs was limited relative to the possible characteristics and traits expressed by the dogs. Yet the state of mind every he experienced every time he encountered a dog caused him to believe that he knew exactly what to expect from them. So this is whatever I have said. The same process causes us to believe that we know exactly what to expect from the market, when the reality is there are always unknown forces operating at any moment. The trouble is, the instant we think we know what to expect, we simultaneously stop taking all the unknown forces and the various possibilities created by those forces into consideration. The unknown forces are other traders waiting to enter or exit trades based on their beliefs about the future. In other words, we really cannot know exactly what to expect from the market until we can read the minds of all the traders who have the potential to act as a force on price movement. Not a very likely possibility. Okay. So just like the dog and the boy story, we have our own expectation of how the market will behave. And we know this is what will happen, and as a result what will happen, we will stop taking other things into consideration, and because we have already decided now the market might be rewarding or market might be risky, but we are sure that this is what will happen. And in other words, we can't know exactly what to expect from the market until we can read the minds of all the traders who have the potential to act as a force on price movement. Not a very likely possibility. Okay. So, and how will, and whatever we think we know, actually what is happening, it's not possible because it's not how the market behaves, it's how the traders are behaving, and we don't know how everybody is thinking. As traders, we cannot afford to indulge ourselves in any form of I know what to expect from the market. We can know exactly what an edge looks. Yeah. So basically, you cannot tell that I know how the market will behave. We can know exactly what an edge looks, sounds, or feels like, and we can know exactly how much we need to risk to find out if that edge is going to work. We can know that we have a specific plan as to how we are going to take profits if a trade works, but that's it. If if what we think we know starts expanding to what the market is going to do, we are in trouble. And all that is required to put us into a negatively charged I know what to expect from the market state of mind is for any belief, memory, or attitude to cause us to interpret the up and down ticks or any market information as anything but an opportunity to do something on our own behalf. So the author is again telling the same thing that you cannot know what the market is going to do. You just have to do it. And if it works, you take the profits. But that's all. So if you think alternatively that the market will definitely go in the direction uh, where you are expecting, then you are in trouble. So defining the terms, what are the objectives? Ultimately, of course, making money is everyone's objective. But if trading were only a matter of making money, reading this book wouldn't be necessary. Putting on a winning trade or even a series of winning trades requires absolutely no skill. On the other hand, creating consistent results and being able to keep what we have created does require skill. Making money consistently is a byproduct of acquiring and mastering certain mental skills. The degree to which you understand this is the same degree to which you will stop focusing on the money and focus instead on how you can use your trading as a tool to master these skills. Okay, so the main thing what in this author is telling is what is your objective? Obviously, making money is the objective. But if that is the objective, you will not be reading this book, right? Uh, you are reading this book not to be make money. You're reading this book to create consistent results. Okay, and so for that you have to acquire and master certain mental skills. Okay, and so instead, once you understand this mental skills, then instead we will stop focusing on the money and focus on how we can use trading to master these mental skills, not to money. Okay, it's a very, very profound thing. You don't have the objective of making money. You have trading as a tool so that you improve and sharpen your mental skills. Because if you don't do, you will get because trading when you trade, you are actually losing money, right? So the cost of not improving your mental skills will cost you in terms of in your money. So what are the skills? Consistency is a result of carefree objective state of mind where we are making ourselves available to perceive and act upon whatever the market is offering us from its perspective in any given now moment. Okay, just a minute. So sorry for the delay. Uh, what is the skills? Basically, uh, the skills means it is a basically consistency means you have to trade with a uh, sorry, I think some more issue. Let me some personal problems, I think. So what are the skills? Basically, you have to trade in a consistent, carefree state of mind. To trade consistently, you have to be carefree. And so so when you're carefree, you basically behave when the based on the information. Okay, so carefree means confident but not euphoric. So what is a carefree state of mind? Carefree means confident, but it is not euphoric. When you're in a carefree state of mind, you won't feel fear, hesitation, or compulsion to do anything because you have effectively eliminated the potential to define and interpret market information as threatening. To remove the sense of threat, you have to accept the risk completely. When you have accepted the risk, you will be at peace with any outcome. To be at peace with any outcome, you must reconcile anything in your mental environment that conflicts with the five fundamental truths from about the market. What is more, you also have to integrate these truths into your mental system as core beliefs. Okay. So, what is happening is that when there is a carefree state of mind, there won't be any fear or hesitation or compulsion to do anything. Okay. So we know that this is what we will, this is what will happen. We have come to terms with accepting that. Okay. And so what exactly? So, and for this, you have to basically accept whatever was mentioned, those five truths, five beliefs which we have, those five things we have to completely accept. What are the five things? So basically, market is uh, anything can happen, and you don't need to know what should happen to make money. And it is basically there is a random distribution in our edge. And what is an edge? Edge is basically uh, where the probability of us winning is more. It's just still a probability. Fifth one is each moment in the market is unique. So these five things you have to, you know, uh, you have to basically keep it in our mind. Okay. So only then we will be very confident, and at the same time will not be euphoric also. Okay. So that anything, so you have to, if you win or lose, then you have to be at peace. Okay. And so this is what carefree state of mind. What is objectivity? Objectivity is a state of mind where you have conscious access to everything you have learned about the nature of market movement. In other words, nothing is being blocked or altered by your pain avoidance mechanisms. What does it mean to make yourself available? Okay, so what is objectivity? Objectivity means whatever we have learned, we basically apply. We don't block or something because of our pain avoidance mechanisms. Okay, so whatever we have learned, we have to apply it. So what does it mean to make yourself available? Making yourself available means trading from the perspective that you have nothing to prove. You are not trying to win or avoid losing. You aren't trying to get your money back or to take revenge on the market. In other words, you come to the market with no agenda other than to let it unfold in any way that it chooses and to be in the best state of mind to recognize and take advantage of the opportunities it makes available to you. Okay. So making ourselves available is basically mean that we have nothing to prove. Okay, we are not going to try to win or lose. We are not going to get the money back. We are not going to take revenge. We are not going to do anything. We basically come to the market with no agenda, and whatever it chooses, whatever it is going to do, we will try to take it and take advantage of the opportunities if it makes available to you. What is the now moment? Trading in the now moment means that there is no potential to associate an opportunity to get into, get out of, add to, or detract from a trade with a past experience that already exists in your mental environment. Okay. So basically is that, this is what so make yourself available means you don't have to prove anything. But what is the now moment? Now moment is that, just because we had some past you know experience, we don't make those things affect our present information. This is what it is telling. Okay, basically no potential to associate from a trade, no potential, sorry, no potential to associate from a trade with the past experience. That is what, whatever happened, you're not going to associate it. What does it mean to make yourself available? We don't trade to prove anything. If we don't trade to win or lose, we don't try to recover, we don't try to revenge. We just, make ourselves available, and whatever happens, let it happen. What is the objectivity? Basically, you are in a conscious state of mind, and whatever we have learned, we will apply it. So what is carefree state of mind? Is basically confident but not euphoric, and for that we have to you know apply the fundamental truths which we learned in the previous chapter, and also whatever happens we have to be at peace. So this is what has lost today. We have this is what we lose, this is what we win, this is what we have to be at peace. Okay, how the fundamental truths relate to the skills. Anything can happen. Why? Because there are always unknown forces operating in every market at every moment. It takes only one trader somewhere in the world to negate the positive outcome of your edge. That's all, only one. Regardless of how much time, effort, or money you have invested in your analysis, from the market's perspective, there are no exceptions to this truth. Any exceptions that may exist in your mind will be a source of conflict and potentially cause you to perceive market information as threatening. Okay, so this is the fundamental truth number one. What is the fundamental truth number one? Anything can happen. Okay, because there are always some forces which are available somewhere. Okay, which will tell that which will bring down your edge. Okay, where you will tell that this is what will happen. They will simply go against you. So it will be somebody, some only one person. Okay, so regardless of how much time, effort, or money you have invested in your analysis, from the market's perspective, there are no exceptions to this. Okay, how much ever we have invested, how much ever money time we have put, effort, how much ever we have put, anything can happen. Okay, uh, and if you think that it should not happen, then if you think that anything should not happen, then what will happen? That thing, that information in our mind, that itself will actually be in, make the market information as threatening. Okay. You don't need to know what is going to happen next in order to make money. So this is the first rule is that anything can happen, right? Next rule is that you don't need to know what is going to happen next in order to make money. Why? Because there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. In other words, based on the past performance of your edge, you may know that out of the next 20 trades, 12 will be winners and 8 will be losers. What you don't know is the sequence of wins and losses, or how much money the market is going to make available on the winning trades. This truth makes trading a probability or numbers game. When you really believe that trading is simply a probability game, concepts like right and wrong or win and lose no longer have the same significance. As a result, your expectations will be in harmony with the possibilities. Okay, so it is random, it is a probability game, right? So we cannot know what will happen next. We can only hope that this will happen, but we cannot know that will happen, right? So based on the past performance of our edge doesn't mean that in the next 20 trades 12 could be winner and 8 could be lost, right? But we don't know, it could be continuous win or continuous lose as well, right? And so as a result, what is happening, this makes a probability or numbers game. Okay, so when you really believe that trading is simply a probability game, concepts like right and wrong or win or lose no longer have the same significance. Okay, so it could be right or wrong. It could be, you can win or lose. It has no, because it's a probability game. It's a numbers game. It's like, uh, like it's a probability game, and it can, go in anything can happen. Keep in mind that nothing has more potential to cause emotional discord than our unfulfilled expectations. Emotional pain is the universal response when the outside world expresses itself in a way that doesn't reflect what we expect or believe to be true. Okay, so emotional pain. Okay, so then what is happening? So because we don't need to know, because if we think that we know, we have an expectation, right? Now, what is because of that expectation? What will happen if the universe is not fulfilling that expectation? You end up in emotional pain. Okay, As a result, any market information that does not confirm our expectations is automatically defined and interpreted as threatening. Okay, that interpretation causes us to adopt a negatively charged defensive state of mind where we end up creating the very experience we are trying to avoid. Awesome. So, we think we have an expectation, this is how it should behave, and the universe might not, market might not behave in that particular manner. And as a result, what is happening, we'll end up in emotional pain. And what is happening, we look at, since we are looking at it as an emotional pain, it looks threatening, right? And as a result, what is happening, we are getting a negatively charged and a defensive state of mind. And what is happening, we finally end up having the pain, which because we are trying to avoid the pain, but end up having the pain. Market information is only threatening if you are expecting the market to do something for you. Otherwise, if you don't expect the market to make you right, you have no reason to be afraid of being wrong. If you don't expect the market to make you a winner, you have no reason to be afraid of losing. If you don't expect the market to keep going in your direction indefinitely, there is no reason to leave money on the table. Okay. Finally, if you don't expect to be able to take advantage of every opportunity just because you perceived it and it presented itself, you have no reason to be afraid of missing out. Okay. So on what are the other thing, when we know that market information is you know uh, we will think of it as threatening because we expect it to behave in some way. Okay. And if you don't expect that to happen, you don't have to be scared, right? And if you don't expect what are the expectations which we have? Expectations, the market is we should be right, okay? And the expectations that we should win, right? And what is the expect? Uh, if you don't expect it should go in our direction indefinitely, then also fine. And if you don't expect to take advantage, it's not like so. Basically, you don't have, if you don't expect that you have to be right, then we will, it's like no need to be scared of being wrong. That is number one. And if you don't expect that you have to win this trade, you don't get scared of losing. You expect that you are going to lose money. And if you don't expect the market should go in your direction indefinitely, okay, then you will not be worried about leaving money on the table because you have some fixed expectation, this is what it will go, and you just exit it, right? You don't, even if you, even if it goes more than how much you have left, you don't have to worry about that. Finally, if you don't expect to be able to take advantage of every opportunity, and you will not you will not be fear of missing out, like oh my god, I missed this, like that. No, don't have those expectations. So on the other hand, if you believe that all you need to know is the odds are in your favor before you put on a trade, how much it is going to cost to find out if the trade is going to work, you don't need to know what is going to happen next to make money on that trade. Anything can happen. Okay. So if you believe all these things, what will happen? What we need to know is we should have to believe that odds are in my favor. Okay. What is the first thing? You believe that odds are in my favor. Number two is you should then, the next thing which you should know is how much am I going to lose, right? How much it is going to cost. Whether I will win or lose. If I lose, how much is going to cost? And as a result, you don't need to know what is going to happen next, right? What is going to happen next, you don't need to know because it can happen, it cannot happen. Fourth one, the same thing, anything can happen, right? So 3 and 4 is more of belief, but 1 and 2, 1 is also more of belief, 2 is more of the concrete thing. That is, you should know how much you are going to lose or how much you are going to win. Basically, that is what you need to do. Then how can the market make you wrong? What information could the market generate about itself that would cause your pain avoidance mechanisms to kick in so that you exclude that information from your awareness? None that I can think of. If you believe that anything can happen and that you don't need to know what is going to happen next to make money, then you will always be right. Your expectations will always be in harmony with the conditions as they exist from the market's perspective. Okay. So, yeah, how can the market make you wrong? So, these are all the four things, right? So, how can the market make you wrong? What information could the market generate about itself that would cause pain mechanism? So, if you think of all these things, nothing in the market will basically cause pain, right? Because you are not going to expect, you're not going to have anything, you don't have any expectations. And as a result, what will happen? You will not block any information the market is presenting. By the same token, how can a losing trade or even a series of losers have the typical negative effect? If you really believe that trading is a probability or numbers game, if your edge puts the odds in your favor, then every loss puts you that much closer to a win. When you really believe this, your response to a losing trade will no longer take on a negative emotional quality. Okay, so yeah, so all we need to do is we have to, take the odds where the edges in our side. And if you think do in that way, then even if you lost, it's a part of the game. It is part of the probability. You know, it is a probability or numbers game. You take it, to accept it and then move on to the next trade. There is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. This is the third point. What is the third point? Random distribution. If every loss puts you that much closer to a win, you will be looking forward to the next occurrence of your edge, ready and waiting to jump in without the slightest reservation or hesitation. On the other hand, if you still believe that trading is about analysis or about being right, then after a loss, you will anticipate the occurrence of your next edge with trepidation, wondering if it's going to work. This, in turn, will cause you to start gathering evidence for or against the trade. You will gather evidence for the trade if you fear of new if your fear of missing out is greater than your fear of losing. And you will gather information against the trade if your fear of losing is greater than your fear of missing out. Okay. So, in either case, you will not be in the most conducive state of mind to produce consistent results. Okay. So, the author is telling that, there is a random distribution, okay, between wins and losses. And what is the random distribution? If you think that, there is a probability of you losing and there is also a probability of winning, then even if you get a loss, what will happen? You will not, having any hesitation to take the next trade. But if you think that, trading is about analysis or being right, then after a loss, what will happen? The next edge will actually, what will happen? We will start looking at things which will, go against the trade. Okay, so you will gather evidence for the trade of if your fear of missing out is greater than your fear of losing. Okay, so and as a result, what has happened? If you gather information against the trade, if your fear is losing is greater than your fear of misuse. So basically, we have two things: fear of missing out and fear of losing. Okay. So now anything can happen, right? So fear of missing out is what? You will take a trade because you feel that you would have missed it. You don't want to miss it. Fear of losing is you will not take a trade because you don't want to lose money. Two things, right? So now anything can happen, right? Uh, there's a random distribution between. If we take that approach, then we will not even have these two things, fears. Yeah, anything can happen. But if we don't, okay, accept this and we think that it's all about analysis and all these things, then two things: you will either jump in a trade because you don't want to miss out and then you'll incur loss, or you will not take a trade because you have to be right, right? So basically that is what. Yeah, so in either case we will actually not be having consistent results. Fourth one, an edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. We'll stop with this today. Creating consistency requires that you completely accept that trading isn't about hoping, wondering, or gathering evidence one way or the other to determine if the next trade is going to work. The only evidence you need to gather is whether the variables you use to define an edge are present at any given moment. When you use other information outside the parameters of your edge to decide whether you will take the trade, you are adding random variables to your trading regime. Adding random variables makes it difficult, if not impossible, to determine what works and what does not. If you are never certain about the viability of your edge, you won't feel too confident about it. To whatever degree you lack confidence, you will experience fear. The irony is, you will be afraid of random inconsistent results without realizing that your random inconsistent approach is creating exactly what you are afraid of. Okay. So here the author is telling about the edge. Basically, you have to accept that trading is not about hoping, wondering, or gathering evidence. Okay. And the only thing which you should do is whether you have an edge. That's all. If you have an edge, if you come into your level, you have an edge. Okay. When you use other information outside the parameters of your edge to decide whether you will take the trade, you are adding random variables to your trading regime. Okay. So now we have the random variables. It makes it extremely difficult, if not impossible, to determine what works and what does not. Okay. And if you're never certain about the viability of your edge, you won't feel too confident about it also. Since we are okay, so as a result, what is happening? You lack the confidence, you will also experience fear. Okay. And so you have to believe in the edge. That's all. And if it might work or not, but there is still a probability. Okay. On the other hand, if you believe that an edge is simply a higher probability of one thing happening over another, and there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge, why would you gather other evidence for or against a trade? To a trader operating out of these two beliefs, gathering other evidence would not make any sense. Or let me put it this way, gathering other evidence makes about as much sense as trying to determine whether the next flip of a coin will be heads after the last 10 flips came up tails. Regardless of what evidence you find to support heads coming up, there is still a 50% chance that the next flip will come up tails. By the same act token, regardless of how much evidence you gather to support acting or not acting on trade, it still only takes one trader somewhere in the world to negate the validity of any, if not all, of your evidence. The point is, why bother? If the market is offering you a legitimate edge, determine the risk and take the trade. Okay. So the author is blindly telling that just stick with your trading system. You have one probability or the other, and there is a random distribution. So just go with go with that particular evidence, right? So don't go try to gather evidence. That's what author is telling. In even if you have last 10 things, because at the end it's more like tossing a coin. Okay. So you seem to have an edge, take the trade. That's what the author is telling. Every moment in the market is unique. Take a moment and think about the concept of uniqueness. Unique means not like anything else that exists or has ever existed. As much as we understand the concept of uniqueness, our minds don't deal with it very well on a practical level. As we have already discussed, our minds are hardwired to automatically associate anything in the exterior environment that is similar to anything that is already inside of us in the form of a memory, belief, or attitude. Okay, so unique means something which has never existed, right? So every market is moment is unique. Okay, we practically we don't try to understand because we are where we try to associate whatever is there inside with our external memory, external environment. Okay, now we already have some belief or attitude and we expect it to behave that way. We expect the environment to accommodate in that way, right? This creates an inherent contradiction between the way we naturally think about the world and the way the world exists. No two moments in the external environment will ever exactly duplicate themselves. To do so, every atom or every molecule would have to be in the exact same position they were in some previous moment. Not a very likely possibility. Yet, based on the way our minds are designed to process information, we will experience the now moment in the environment as being exactly the same as some previous moment as it exists in our minds. Okay, so because of our belief and expectations, we are actually expecting the market to behave in the way we are believing and expecting. But what is happening? It's not the case because for that to happen, everything from the every atom and molecule which was present in that particular moment where we experience the same thing should be there. But the probability of that happening is not all possible, right? So if each moment is like no other, then there is nothing at the level of your rational experience that can tell you for sure that you know what will happen next. So I will say again, why bother trying to know? When you try to know, you are in essence trying to be right. I'm not implying here that you cannot predict what the market will do next and be right, because you most certainly can. It is in the trying that you run into all of the problems. Okay. Uh, So if you know that each moment in the market is unique, what will happen? You will know that you cannot be sure what will happen. Okay. So if you cannot be sure what will happen, why even try to know, right? What is exactly happen is when you try to know that it should happen that way, what is happening is we are trying to be right. Okay. So so this attitude, it boils down to again and again being right, how we lose money, our attitude on losing money, and our attitude on leaving money on the table. These are all the things which are coming again and again. I'm not implying here that you cannot predict what the market will do next and be right, because you most certainly can. Okay. It is in the trying that you run into all of the problems. If you believe that you correctly predicted the market once, you will naturally try to do it again. As a result, your mind will automatically start scanning the market for the same pattern, circumstance, or situation that existed the last time you correctly predicted its movement. When you find it, your state of mind will make it seem as if everything is exactly as it was the last time. The problem is that from the market's perspective, it is not the same. As a result, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Okay. So just because we have some pattern, just because we expect uh, it to behave in that way, what will happen? We will start looking for those patterns. Okay. And you will immediately believe that it will be the same as the last time, but it's not necessary, right? So as a result, what is happening? We are going to set up ourselves for disappointment. So what separates the best traders from all the rest is that they have trained their minds to believe in the uniqueness of each moment. Okay. Although this training usually takes the form of losing several fortunes before they really believe in the concept of uniqueness. This belief acts as a counteracting force, neutralizing the automatic association mechanism. When you truly believe that each moment is unique, then by definition, there isn't anything in your mind for the association mechanism to link that moment to. This belief acts as an internal force, causing you to dissociate the now moment in the market from any previous moment filed away in your mental environment. The stronger your belief in the uniqueness of each moment, the lower your potential to associate. The lower your potential to associate, the more open your mind will be to perceive what the market is offering you from its perspective. Okay. So this is what the best traders do. They will basically accept each moment as unique, and usually this they will come into that zone only after losing a lot of money. Okay, so and since uh, they believe that each moment is unique, this belief will act as a counteracting force. Okay, what is that counteracting force? What it will, we will immediately associate that it should go in this particular direction, but you know that it is you know it's not the correct thing. It will not be because each moment is unique. You will start counteracting, and as a result, what will when you believe that each moment is unique, we will not try to associate. Okay, and this belief acts as an internal force, causing you to disassociate the now moment in the market from previous moment. So basically, whatever is happening now, you will not connect it with the previous moment. Okay, and so as a result, you will not associate. And if you are not associating with some previous experiences, you will perceive more. You will be more open. So that is what this topic is telling. We will end this session today with this. We'll go a brief. So basically, uh, we are the author presented 5 points the previous chapter, and he wanted us to have that as our core beliefs. And for that, we have to understand what is our direct belief which we have, and for that, we are avoiding certain things because of our fears. And what are the fears is that we want to be right, and we have some expectations, and basically some positive expectation, and as a result we get some we try to connect this expectation with the market, and the market is not going might not behave in the way we expected, and as a result we get emotional pain, and because of that emotional pain we are now scared of the market. So that is what because we want to be right, and if we know that if it is not if it's not going to teach if it's going to tell us that we are wrong, then we are scared because we have some expectation. So just like how the boy and the dog, the boy expected that what he will what how the dog all the dogs are going to behave, and as a result he is not open to new dogs. The same way we will not be open to new information. So this is what author is telling, and also about the objectives. And what is the objective here is not to just make money, but to create consistent results. And for that we need to acquire certain skills, and for to acquire certain mental skills we have to look at market not as a way to make money but to acquire these skills. Okay, so and what are the skills? Basically what is what is the skill? Basically we have to be carefree objective state of mind, right? So that is the skill which we have to acquire, right? And we are going to trade not to make money, but to acquire these skills. What is the skill? Carefree, objective state of mind, right? And as a, what is the other thing? When you are carefree and objective, you will be open, right? And whatever information market is giving, we will act based on that. And then now, what is this particular skill of carefree state of mind? It is basically confident, but not euphoric. And if it's not going in direction, you accept it. So that is the carefree state of mind. If it is yeah, so now comes the objectivity, where so basically you have to be conscious with everything, and whatever information is being given, and you have to make yourself available also. That is, which means that if you are available, it means you have nothing to prove. You don't have to be right. You don't have to get scared of losing. So that is what being available also, and being in now moment also. Uh, you don't have to associate with the previous experiences with the current one. And the author then tells further about anything can happen because there are unknown forces, and it takes only one trader to negate the outcome of whatever edge we have. And we don't need to know what has happened. All we need to do is, it is we have to understand that since anything can happen, we don't need to know what has happened, and it's a numbers game, and we'll just present ourselves when there is an edge in our favor. And so as a result, what is happening? We should not expect the market to make us right. We should not expect the market to make us a winner. We should not expect it should go in our direction. Should not expect we should be taking every opportunity available. It is okay to miss certain things. And all we need to do is we should know that there's an edge, odds in my favor. And if it is not going to happen, well, how much I will lose. That's all. Right. The other two things are you don't need to know how it will behave, and anything can happen. Okay. Then how can the market make you wrong? So that's all. Right. And even if you have a series of losing things, you will basically move on. Third one is a random distribution between wins and losses. So basically, if every trade you can win or lose. Okay, so you will simply be like, you'll be ready without any hesitation. Okay, so without any slightest hesitation, right? Because it can, so as a result, what you will have, you will know that it is very random, right? There is no particular pattern. So as a result, we will not try to, prove us that we will not expect that we should be right, or we will also not expect that we should not lose. So, and so we will stop avoiding information which which makes us taking trades because of losing, missing out, or if we get scared and before it hits our stop loss, we exit with a loss. The fourth one is the edge is nothing but it's a higher probability, one thing happening over the other. And if it is anything can happen, why you bother? You just know that it's a probability. Finally, the fifth one is the unique, means something which you have not experienced so far, but we try to connect with our past experiences, which we should not do. So anything can happen and everything is unique. So that is what the best traders do. Okay. So with this, yeah, thank you. So with this, we will end today's session. Thank you, Rakesh ji. I hope this session was useful to you, and we will continue this session tomorrow on how we can move towards the zone. So I will upload the recording and we can review from there as well. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.